Well, leave it to me first video back to not plug the microphone in all the way, so second time's a charm. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video. It has been a very long time, and this video is very overdue. Many of you know me from sharing my experience starting a coffee roasting company, all the way from doing it by myself to doing it as a partnership, starting in Florida, ending up in Connecticut. So what happened? That's the question. I've got Instagram DMs, emails, phone calls, letters, everything under the sun, every means of communication saying, Bondi, what happened to the company? So here's the answer. I'm gonna give a quick backstory as to Roasted Coffee Company, just for anybody who doesn't know, because you might be new to this channel, you might have seen some of my videos. I started this company my sophomore year of college, back in 2017. It started in my college apartment. It was just me. I fell in love with coffee like many of you and many of those who start their own coffee roasting companies. I didn't know what coffee was. I learned about it in one of my classes. It was food chemistry, and I was like, wait, coffee is extremely complex and comprehensive and super cool. So I started buying green coffee, roasting it at my house in a pan on my stove, and fell in love. I started roasting for myself, friends and family, and then people started buying it from me. And I was like, well, let me put it in a, let's get a cool package, and I'll just make a label, started by hand, and then eventually started printing them. And I really loved that whole experience of starting something that was mine and unique and cool. It was just fun. Many of you have probably experienced the same thing, and I just started documenting my journey, and that's where this YouTube channel started. But really, it was all about the entrepreneurship and just overcoming obstacles and then being able to share that with people. That's what really prompted my uploading of YouTube videos. But fast forward, because obviously the point is what happened to the company. Well, the company was around since 2017. Being 2021 is when 2022, and we ended up dissolving the company. It was about 4 or 5 years, not consecutively, because when I was about to graduate, I also sort of hit pause on the company because I didn't know where I was going to be. It was just me at the time, so I couldn't possibly move somewhere else and continue fulfilling orders that were coming in from online. And at the time, I was selling in some retail shops, so I had some wholesale accounts. 3 of my childhood friends came to me and said, hey, we loved Roasted the first time around. They were big advocates. They always bought the coffee. They drank the coffee. Huge coffee lovers, except one of us, Steve. So they were like, hey, is there anything we can do to help? And I was like, well, funny you ask, because I'm working full-time still, and I do want to continue this venture. If I have 3 other people that are helping me, it's going to be possible. And it's not like that split would make it somewhere where I couldn't afford to live, because I had a full-time job, and so did everybody else. Which brings me to my first point. We had everything that we needed for success with the coffee company. We had a good brand. We had a decent amount of wholesale accounts. We were supplying some cafes, some restaurants, selling in grocery stores, a good bit of business online. I think with all of us being full-time, that was the first thing and first sign to me that the company wasn't going to last forever. And I say that because Niccolo Bianco, he's engineer by day, roaster by night. Steve now works full-time security at a power plant, which I know is, he's got days off, but they're long, like 12-hour days. And so some days he wasn't available at all, and Kale just started working for Amtrak, so now he's working on the railroad, and he's got really early hours. I'm in Florida. I basically became a silent partner other than managing things on the business side, on the back end, like CRM and just business development, new and better softwares for us to use for accounting and taxes and keeping up on insurance, so all of those things. But with nobody in full-time, it kind of became a which came first, chicken or the egg scenario, where we needed somebody to be full-time if we wanted to really get to that next level, right? But with all of us having bills to pay and having to support ourselves, it really became a matter of, well, who can afford to go full-time in the company? Because we're not necessarily making enough to pay somebody full-time, but in order to be able to pay somebody full-time, we need somebody to go full-time. So hopefully that makes sense. That was the predicament that we were in. Like I said, it's kind of a which came first, chicken or egg scenario, and we didn't want to put the cart before the horse. Let's say somebody does leave their full-time job and we're not able to get to that next level. That's one of the inherent risks of being an entrepreneur, but none of us were in that position. So I don't know that I would necessarily chalk this up as a failure. Call it a failure, call it us walking away, calling it a conscious decision to just end the company or put pause in the company. I would say that it was a decision that we all made because we didn't have anybody that was in a position to go full-time or willing to go full-time. So you might be in a completely different position. You might be in one where you have 4 partners, 2 partners, it's just you. If you want it to be something that is self-sustaining and something that you're able to actually pull money from and pay for things like bills and all of that, you have to be full-time. You have to take it seriously. And there's definitely that crossroads of it's not ready yet to be full-time, but if you're not working towards it, then you have to ask yourself, what are you doing? And I feel like all of us were like, is anybody really working towards jumping in full-time in the company? And I think the answer was no. Second part of this was because we had nobody to do anything full-time, or we had nobody full-time, we didn't have anybody to really push sales. And I'll give you a great example of why that's so important. Sales is the lifeline, it's the lifeblood of a company. And one day, Kale went to a coffee shop and said, hey, this is our product, this is what we have to offer. Are you interested in buying it? And they said, yes, we are. And they were definitely our biggest wholesale account. I mean, they bought a lot of coffee every month. They were a coffee shop. So if we had somebody out there doing that every day or every other day, really hammering on the sales and following up with people, that's a full-time position that honestly probably takes more than one person. And we had 0 people doing it full-time. I was doing it partially. Everybody was kind of doing the sales, but not like it would be done if we had somebody that was doing it full-time, or even if we had 2 people that were doing it, 1 person full-time, 1 person just to help out with the sales. This experience here for me has really done nothing but added another arrow to my quiver. Hindsight's 20/20, but in order to have that outlook on things, you have to have gone through it. So again, call it a failure, call it whatever you want. I now have great insight into the closing down of a coffee roasting company. Our reasons are unique to us, so of course it's gonna change based on who you are, where you are, the structure of your company, hundreds of different variables. But that was ours. And so to answer everybody's question, none of us were willing at this point in time in our lives to make the full-time jump, and that's why we decided we're just gonna go ahead and close everything down for right now. So there's an important takeaway from this, and this is just one of many. There's 5 or 10 takeaways that I've been able to pull out of this that are essential to the success of a company, and that goes for any company. And this is just one. I'm going to share a lot of these in different videos. I read a great book called Start at the End. It's by Dave Levinsky, I think his last name is. And basically what it says is, what's your exit strategy with a company? Because long term, there's a number of different ways that you could set up a business depending on the exit strategy. Do you want to build your business to sell it? Do you want to build your business to franchise it? Do you want to build your business to hold long term and be a part of it, the entirety of its life or your life? And that's a really important question to ask when starting. And I think reading that book taught me a lot, but then experiencing this really drove it home. All of the information and knowledge I learned from reading that book was multiplied by 100 when we went through this, because I was like, this is the exact reason that you should start at the end and write a business plan backwards. I think many people don't think about this, though it's essential to the success of your company, whether it's a coffee roasting company, any company in any industry. So that's just one takeaway that I took from this. And there's tons that I could elaborate on there, but like I said, this video is just to answer the question, what happened to the company? And so I'm just gonna do that and then start making more videos that just revolve around entrepreneurship. So back to the gym that I'm sitting in here. I started this company last year, probably about a year ago. And in less than a year, actually, we did over $300,000 in revenue. That isn't for me to pat myself on the back. That's for me to say the amount of blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice that went into making that possible. And through starting this business, it just really humbled me and taught me that I don't know anything about business. I now have 4 to 5 employees, and that was a whole different ballgame. Hiring employees. I mean, the amount of work that goes into all of that and everything that we've done is crazy. Going from selling a product to a service, now I've experienced both industries. I could talk for hours about the differences between the two, the pros and the cons, the things that I like, the things that I don't like. But obviously this business here has been far more successful financially than the coffee company, which has just put things in a far different perspective for me. I'm far deeper into this business than I was with the coffee, and I think the coffee taught me a lot of those foundational things that I needed to know as an entrepreneur. But I plan on sharing more about the experience starting a gym, just like I did sharing the experience starting the coffee roasting company. So for those of you who are interested in just the coffee stuff, I will be talking about coffee stuff still, but I will also just be talking about general entrepreneurship and my experiences starting this business, which pertain to any industry. Honestly, it's all the same. It's just what is at the forefront? What does the customer see? A product, a service? What does it look like? Is it seasonal? Is it continue? Is it does it stay the same across the course of a year? Is it a business that requires employees? Is it a business that you can do by yourself? All of those things, from systems to software, that's what I want to talk about, because I know for one, when I first started this, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I think a lot of people probably ask that question and it intimidates them. So I want to help clear up some of the things that I stumbled over and tripped over and all the obstacles that I had to overcome. Quick shout out to Bob Finley at Gem City Coffee Roasters. They're here in Florida, Palatka. It's probably about 40 minutes from here. They're one of the companies that I help consult and get started. They've done an excellent job. I handed the torch to them. They took off running, and they have done so well. So I'm extremely proud of the things that they've done, as well as, again, humbled just to be a part of their coffee roasting journey. I will be available for consultations. I'm going to start taking that side of the business more seriously. I still get flooded with questions on Instagram and emails and everything, so I will be branching out and doing consultations. I'm going to open up a couple days of my schedule during the week where people can book calls with me to just talk about, probably going to start with coffee roasting stuff, but companies in general, getting started, what it looks like. You know, in addition to starting these two companies and building this one into a very successful one, I have my master's in business, so I have some insight to give there on the more formal education front, and really want to open up the opportunity for people to leverage me as a resource, because I just thoroughly enjoy helping others, being able to educate and teach. It's such a fun process, and one that I am, like I said, continuously humbled by, and to share the knowledge that I have, knowing how much more I have to learn, is something that I really enjoy doing. So quickly, before wrapping this video up, let's walk to the gym really fast. Please excuse the bad lighting setup here. It's very janky, to put it lightly. I just set it up so that there was some ambiance in this video, but it is not professional. Sorry, Marcus. Got a little light there on the stool. You walk in, and then you got office for basically parents and athletes to sit down and work or have consultations, learn about who we are, what we do. Coffee. This is my office. Well, this is all of our office, but again, I got this space probably beginning of this year, halfway through this year actually. Got some office space, some desks, our nice TV that is not used for anything productive. Some more desks, my desk, nice little hybrid logo, calendars. And now we have the gym. So this is a cheerleading training facility, athletic training center. We have athletes that aren't cheerleaders that are hoping to be, or those that don't want to be, they're just here to train with us. So you can see that we have the classic elements of cheerleading. That's a rod floor, mats for tumbling and stunting. Over here we have a full gym. Nice TV on the wall, so we can play all of our Christmas music now that it's November. Yeah, you can see we have a full gym here. Like I said, we treat athletes like athletes. So all of our girls, all of our guys, they're all athletes. We're cheerleaders. We're not here to teach people how to jump up and down and wave their pom-poms on the sideline on game day, although that is obviously an important element of cheerleading game day, but we're here to treat them like athletes and train them to make them better athletes, tumbling, stunting, jumping, everything. That's it. I'm going to wrap up the video. Like I said, there's going to be multiple places that you can find me and actually book consultations with me. One is going to be fellowshipcoffeeroasters.com. The other is going to be bvpventures.com, and I'll have links in the description. But wanted to get this video out there to answer the question of the year: what happened to the company? Hopefully that satisfies everybody. If you have more questions or if you want me to elaborate, feel free to reach out, though I will probably point you to the website and say, book a call. I can answer anything you want, as well as questions that are specific to you and your company. So that's it for today. Love y'all. Peace out.